Alright, door pillar is now off. You can see there's a nice little hornet's nest there hanging out on the inside. And let me set it down, you can see it better. So I cut it along the footwell, come up along the side, just cut it along right along the edge here. I didn't want to go too far in yet until I know what's going on. So that's all cut off. There's the footwell. And also I do have new footwells I'm going to be putting in as well. So this is where I'm at so far. Cut it out. It's rather nerve-wracking to cut something off like this. Here I did all the framework and everything. It's not as nerve-wracking as this for some reason. Alrighty, I'm going to cut some more of this off and trim it back some more. Alright, we're over here on the workbench, and what I'm doing is going to be making weld plates that go behind the hold to the door hinge on. So this is the bottom of the door pillar that broke off, but if you flip it back behind, you can see there's this little plate with two nuts welded onto the back of it, and it's supposed to be held in there with a little piece of metal. So when you put your door hinge on, this is another piece of the door hinge, it comes in, it bolts on just like that. So, but you'll never be able to get to the nuts back behind there. So you have to make your own, because if you look on the new door pillar, all it has is just a plate. It just has that. It doesn't come with nuts or anything for the top and the bottom. You can see there, all it is the holes for the hinge, but it doesn't have the nuts for on the back to hold it, which after you get done welding this all in, you need to bolt this on. You won't ever reach them. So I need to make these things. So what I did is I just used some 14 gauge sheet metal, the same stuff I'm using for the chassis. So at first, I was going to use a 3/8 bolt, because it fit through the hole. See there, it fits in there. But whenever I was reading online, the correct size is 5/16 is correct. But you could see it gives you a lot of play in there, so which I think is kind of weird, but I guess it gives you more adjustability. So what I'm going to do, you go like this, on like that. Just do that with a piece of plate, 14 gauge. I'm going to do that, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a weld all the way around the nut, and then it'll be made to be put in there. Again, I've ordered some more bolts. These are grade 8 5/16 bolts from the Bolt Depot. I got them 1 inch. I think 1 inch should be long enough to fit through everything once it's all put together, but we'll see. Alrighty, I'm gonna make some more plates, and I'm gonna weld them up, and I'll be back. Alrighty, here we go. We got the bolt and nut. I have it snugged down tight, so it's not moving anywhere. Got the welding ground on there, and right here. So I'm gonna try to do a weld here. There you go. It's not pretty, but hey, it's on there. It's not going anywhere. I'll do the rest of them. Okay, so I got the bolt plates made, and then I have them. You have to weld them in, you see here, I had to put a piece of metal going across to hold it in place. So then you have the bolts here. See that? And your adjustability goes all within that space, but see that they don't fall out. Your plate's not going to fall out because of the back plate. So this is your foot on the bottom of the door pillar. You put it in this one, and then you have to do it in the top of this one. And there it is. Bolts back behind that one. Again, had to weld in a plate going across to hold it in there. On later on this is a Series 2A Land Rover. On the later ones, they have little clips here that hold on with a nut in the back behind there. So, and the hinges are actually different. They don't sit flat. They actually have a spacing behind them. So I think that's probably why they don't put these locking plates in here, the bolt plates. I wish they would, because I would have spent a couple extra bucks if they would have put them in. But anyways, so that's there. See, in the bottom, it doesn't get one in the bottom because this goes into here. So, all right, I'm going to go let's bolt this up to the truck. Okay, so here we are. Door pillar bolted on to the foot. The foot's now bolted on to the chassis, to the outrigger. Then I put bolts in here to hold the pillar to the foot. And you come up to here, I put one of the pieces I got from the Welding Wood there. I put that piece there just for the heck of it or whatever, but you can already see it's already looking like a door post, which is pretty amazing in itself. But there you go. So door pillar is bolted up, which it moves forward and back, but that's okay, because then as I'm putting in the panels here, I can line it up. I can twist it and turn it any which way. So I'm pretty happy with it so far. Okay, so the next step is going to be, I'll probably take it back off, but then I have to cut this out here and fix all of this before I start welding on the next panels. Okay, so I welded this all, cut this out, welded it in. So now it's all together, one piece now, the corner. So I cut this out and I capped off the last little bit, here. So now this is all enclosed right here. So now that this is done, I can start actually maybe welding something into for the door pillar. So I've been looking at this for like 2 days, 3 days, and now I finally made a decision on, this is the first piece I'm going to put in. I was thinking about building it from the outside going in. Then I thought about, well, I have to put this thing in first in order to build everything off of to where the door pillar is. And I'll have some adjustment this way with it, with the door. So anyways, what I did first was I took this piece and I measured from this surface here to right to the center line of here is 1 1/16. So I had to cut and trim the piece that they sent because it was too long this way in order for me to line it up where it needs to be. So from this piece, from the center of this to down to there, there's it has to be a certain distance because it holds on to the windshield from here to there. So with me measuring here from 1 1/16 from the center of the hole to here, I checked on that side as well. It's 1 inch and 1 by/16. So when you take this bracket and you mount it onto here, you have a little bit of leeway about moving it a little bit side to side, up and down or whatever, but it's from the center of this bolt to the wing nut. This wing nut to that wing nut is 53 1/4. It's from the center there to this center, needs to be there 53 53 1/4, but double check on your own windscreen before taking that as as correct. So anyways, okay, I wanted to double check, and it is. This is my piece of paper I wrote all my sizes on, my dimensions, and for the door it was 53 1/4 for these to the center of these wing nuts, so it's right. So if I would have took the piece that came just as is, which had this little piece, extra piece hanging here, it would not, if I just welded it in there thinking it was in the right place, it would not have lined up. So another thing is, this is the original, where the original bolts, where the bolts and nuts and the plate went. So what I first did is I butted up against this edge right here, because this should be the same edge as this edge, which I think they made this panel wrong. These nuts here should not be in the center line of this edge. These should actually be over more, about at least 1/4 inch, because I have about a 1/4 inch gap from here to there, from where I moved it in 1/4 inch. If these would have been moved over 1/4 inch, I would not have had to trim it down to get it to fit, get this in the right place for the windscreen. So I could see that that's already a problem, that they made their part wasn't 100%. So when you get panels, anytime new panels or anything, always you got to check some type of dimensions going from this and that and that and this. So all right, so I got this piece on, we're good. And it did have tabs coming off. Actually, they're sitting right here. This one had tabs like this. There, and then there was a tab. This is actually a tab for down there. Then there was a tab right here. So I cut those off because now it's moving everything inside 1/4 inch too far in. So if I take this piece, which is supposed to be welded to here, this is going to be my next step. Now this can fit back behind here. Difficult to do it with one hand. So then now I can weld that piece, weld it to that, without that tab being in the way. Okay, so there are so many things to think about and how to put this thing together, that this is just the way I'm doing it. So anyways, again, I took forever thinking about how I'm going to do all this. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is putting this piece here and welding it to the frame right here. And what I'm going to try to do is, let me clamp that on there and I'll show you what I'm thinking. Okay, so now I have this part here clamped on there the way it's supposed to, I plan on doing it, which is going to be pushed in a little bit from the edge here. If you can see that at all. It's going to go up inside here. I'm going to weld inside here. And you see, I have to follow this curve, or there's no other way. There's no other place to put it. You have to put it here for the curve. So this piece now can go this way with the door pillar, but it can also go in. So you can see where I cut that tab off. Now I can weld that to here to make it all one piece then. So this is another. There's so many pieces and parts you got to look at the same time. So now you can see this shape here, it follows this shape. It goes in here. So this actually needs to sit behind this plate, because there's going to be a plate that covers all of this, and that's the other piece over here that actually, it covers and finishes off the whole thing, and you don't see any of this. This is all going to be inside. So there's that piece there, and you can see it it's got a bend in there, right in that crease that goes across and everything. So this is going to set where your door pillar is going to be this way, inside and out. So that's why I'm going to first just get this centered this way, looking at it this way, on with the door pillar as best I can. And then this is actually from this edge here, well, kind of this edge to that edge here to the other door is, what did I say? 34 and a half to 34.6 is what I'm doing. I'm actually doing a 1/16 over. According to the other side, when I measure this one, and before I cut this off, this part of the door pillar was still there. So from that hinge location right here, with the two holes, the center of this hinge to the center of this hinge is 34.6 is what pretty much where I'm going to. So this actually has to twist. This actually twists a little bit, so I have to twist it a little bit to get it in the right direction whenever I actually weld it in place. But there it is, it's pinched there, but I'm going to get everything lined up as best as I can, put another clamp on it, and then I'm going to put at least a little spot weld to hold it in place. So, all right, so that gets us one other piece on with the door pillar. Oh yeah, one other thing. Surprisingly, the door pillar and the foot are actually made pretty good. They're pretty much in a line, and they kind of not snap, but they kind of locate off each other, because this has the foot has a little dimple in it, and this dimple here sits inside of it. So this here is just bolted right together right here. So then this foot is just bolted in there. There's no adjustment, no nothing for that. But you can tilt your door pillar a little bit this way and that way, but I have it snugged up kind of tight. So then I took a piece of wood, I laid it on here for this crease here, which is a body line, for this body line here, and that one back there. So I put one board all the way across to here, and it's exactly right on. So this height from here to there, going back towards the back, are all in alignment. So they make this panel actually pretty good, I have to say, so far. The foot and this at YRM in the UK. So, all right, so I'm gonna get the location of that set this way and make a final decision before I just keep thinking about it. I'll keep thinking about this for days and days, and we'll get anything accomplished. So I'm going to commit to this and get that located. Alrighty.